The Olympics, once the highlight of the entire year, capturing the hearts and minds of millions around the globe. You had the greatest athletes on earth, iconic moments that still give you goosebumps, and a sense of worldwide unity that felt downright magical. But somewhere along the way, things got messy, really messy.
It's a simple fact. Russia is banned from the 2018 Winter Olympic Games.
Now, it's less about heroic stories and more about doping scandals.
The stunning number, as many as 11 Americans who could pick up medals if the Russian athletes are stripped of theirs.
Billion-dollar stadiums that become abandoned ruins, and controversies so big they practically overshadow any of the sports. In today's video, we're talking about why the Olympics suck now. We're diving into how this legendary event went from must-watch global phenomenon to an overblown spectacle that's losing its relevance with every passing year. And trust me, once you see the receipts, you might never look at those 5 interlocking rings the same way again. Let's start with the elephant on the track and field, controversy. Yes, the Olympics is your sports version of the Real Housewives, glamorous from a distance but behind the scenes. Oh boy, at one point, the Olympics was where athletes went to prove they were the best of the best. Now it's also where many go to prove they know the best chemists. From Ben Johnson's steroid fiasco in 1988 to entire teams allegedly doping in more recent years. Yep, I'm looking at you, Russia.
We have breaking news in the sports world. This morning, Russia received a 4-year ban for doping from the World Anti-Doping Agency.
Doping has overshadowed a lot of genuine athletic achievements, and if that wasn't enough, the doping busts have turned into soap operas where entire delegations get banned, then unbanned, then partially banned. It's like a never-ending sequel to a mediocre sports movie that no one asked for. Remember when winning the bid to host the Olympics meant your city was getting a front row seat to greatness? Turns out it might also mean your city's officials wrote some very big checks behind the scenes. The International Olympic Committee, IOC, has been dogged by accusations of bribery and corruption for decades. Salt Lake City 2002, scandal, Rio 2016. More scandal, Tokyo 2020. Technically 2021, but who's counting? Yep, you guessed it, scandal. It's as if there's a secret handshake. Grease the right palms or your city doesn't stand a chance. Then there are the ghost towns. You know, those multi-billion-dollar stadiums that become deserted within weeks after the Olympics ends. It's hard to stay enthusiastic when you see a once glorious venue turning into a ruin that looks straight out of a dystopian film. Hosting the Olympics often puts cities into crippling debt. And let's be honest, who wants to pay higher taxes so a giant pool no one uses can sit there collecting algae? To understand how we got here, we need a quick history lesson. Don't worry, this is the fun kind of history. The original Olympics trace back to ancient Greece around 776 BC. Think before the smartphone, before Netflix, and definitely before doping control. They were dedicated to Zeus, uniting the Greek city-states in peaceful competition. Essentially, it was a big festival celebrating athletic prowess and religious devotion. Fast forward to the late 19th century, commercial sponsorship was virtually non-existent. There was a real purity to it. Well, maybe not entirely pure. Stories of mild doping and behind-the-scenes politics existed even then, but nothing like the steroid lab frenzy we see today. Then came the 20th century explosion of television, global marketing, and big money. Sponsors realized they could make serious bank from the Olympics. Brands wanted a piece of that sweet international spotlight. Enter Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Visa. Household names latched onto the Olympic rings, fueling enormous revenue streams. By the time we hit the 1980s and 90s, the Olympics had become this bloated juggernaut of sponsorships, political maneuvering, and an almost comical level of behind-the-scenes drama. That original spirit of unity and sportsmanship starting to get overshadowed by the almighty dollar. So let's jump into recent history, where the controversies ramp up to 11 thanks to social media, 24-hour news cycles, and more transparent reporting, or at least more Twitter rants. With platforms like Twitter, I mean X, Instagram, and TikTok, every misstep gets magnified 1,000 times. We see the crumbling stadiums, the doping controversies, and the absurd ticket prices instantly. Memes spread faster than a Jamaican sprinter in the 100-meter dash. The Olympics might still draw impressive viewership numbers, but the public's trust is crumbling faster than that half-built Olympic infrastructure in some host cities. People are quick to clown organizers for being outdated, out of touch, or just flat-out corrupt. From the Cold War-era boycotts to more recent controversies, like countries threatening to pull out due to political disputes, it often feels like the actual athletic competition is secondary. The 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics faced scrutiny over Russia's policies. Beijing 2008 and 2022 had controversies about human rights. Tokyo 2020 was overshadowed by a pandemic and local protests. It's hard to remember what medal was won when everyone's busy debating global politics and whether hosting the Olympics violates local communities' rights. Speaking of overshadowing the actual sports, let's talk about the 2024 Olympics in Paris.
We won't be having a Last Supper as portrayed the way they portrayed it the other night. I just think, look, I'm for everybody. I'm very open-minded. You understand.
Yeah.
You know me better than most people know me. I'm very open-minded. But I thought what they did was a disgrace.
During the opening ceremony, a banquet sequence featuring drag artists caught the ire of Christian groups worldwide. They claimed it parodied Leonardo da Vinci's famous painting, The Last Supper, which is kind of a big deal for, 2 millennia of Christian tradition. Organizers insisted they never intended to mock Christianity and said it was merely a reference to pagan gods because that's so much less controversial, apparently. The Catholic Church in France called it derision and mockery. Some companies even pulled their Olympics advertising in protest, and half the world was left yelling at each other on social media. Sounds like a typical day for the Olympics. In fairness, the idea was to celebrate diversity, tolerance, and the whole liberté, égalité, fraternité vibe. But if your big unity message involves a reenactment that looks suspiciously like Jesus and the apostles in drag, you're basically lighting the fuse of a controversy bomb. And you can't be surprised when it explodes. Over the past few cycles, TV ratings in many countries have dipped, especially among younger viewers. With so many entertainment options these days, Netflix, gaming, or scrolling endlessly on TikTok, the Olympics just doesn't command the same attention. These are piling up faster than new doping accusations. Athletes themselves are voicing complaints about strict rules, unfair qualification processes, or the overwhelming commercial demands placed on them. Remember that iconic line from Simone Biles pulling out of events for her mental health, or the controversy around Sha'Carri Richardson's suspension in the lead-up to Tokyo. It's not just doping or money that's overshadowing the games. Mental health, social justice, and personal well-being are in the spotlight too. In an attempt to stay cool, the Olympics has added sports like skateboarding, surfing, and now even breakdancing.
Oh, and breakdancing made its Olympic debut. Please stay seated.
Yes, swimming in money. Critics accuse them of being way too cozy with sponsors and big money interests. If you can't beat them, sponsor them, I guess. Awarding the Winter Games to Sochi, a subtropical city. Awarding the Summer Games to cities dealing with monstrous heat waves.
Blazing heat could make the Tokyo Olympics a nightmare, an advisor to the organizing committee told Reuters on Tuesday.
The logic behind these choices is often overshadowed by the rumor mill about who paid whom what. At times, it feels like the IOC would host the Winter Olympics in the Sahara if the price was right. The million, or should I say multi-billion-dollar question is, can the Olympics be redeemed? Perhaps. Cities are learning from the past, employing more sustainable practices, repurposing venues, and trying to cut down on the money pit effect. Some smaller countries actually see hosting the Olympics as a chance to improve infrastructure long-term. If the IOC genuinely commits to transparency, stops awarding the games to the highest bidder alone, addresses doping with real accountability, and maybe dials down the accidental religious parodies, the Olympics might reclaim some of that old glory. On the flip side, if controversies keep snowballing, if doping remains rampant, and if hosting costs remain astronomical, we might see more and more countries refusing to bid. The Olympics could end up a relic, like a VHS tape in a world of streaming. Look, I want to love the Olympics. I want to watch the best athletes in the world push themselves to new heights, break world records, and share in that collective moment of awe. But it's hard to cheer when you know about the doping. doping, the corruption, the wasted billions, the questionable ethics, and now apparently controversies about mocking Christianity. So what do we do? Maybe it starts with the audience demanding better from the IOC. Maybe it's up to host countries to hold these folks accountable, or maybe the Olympics just fade into irrelevance, overshadowed by esports and whatever else the kids are into these days. Let's be real. It's 2025. Anything can happen. At its heart, the Olympics still has the power to unite us, to inspire, and to showcase incredible human achievements. Unfortunately, it also has the power to bankrupt cities, crush athletes under pressure, incite religious backlash, and line the pockets of powerful executives. So yeah, the Olympics kinda sucks now. But maybe, just maybe, if the powers that be remember why it all started in the first place, to bring humanity together in the spirit of friendly competition, they can scrape off the layers of corruption, commercialism, and controversy and recapture that original magic. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you think the Olympics are salvageable or if they're destined to become just another bloated entertainment franchise. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We may not be an official Olympic sponsor, but we do appreciate your support.